Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Heart Shaped Box, the podcast. Fresh from releasing the album Ultraviolet, we have guitarist Adam Kerr from the amazing As Everything Unfolds. How you doing, mate? You right?
I'm good, mate. How you keeping? All right?
Yeah, good, mate. Thank you for joining us on what must be an absolute hectic 4 days.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
It is all systems go for like 2 months or 3 months now. We're in the middle of it.
Yeah. How have you found the last 4 days since the release?
Yeah, it's been really positive actually. Like I think better than there was definitely we had a bit of animosity about how well it was going to go down, but so far, touch wood, it's been really good. It's been really positive, but it's just like every day there's something else, you know.
So you say it was about 4 months in the making. Is that how long you'd had, or I'm taking it took you a lot longer than 4 months?
Oh no, I mean like what we're doing at the minute. Like it's like we go on tour, we come back, we do the album stuff, we're doing all the press around it, then we're going back on tour again. And like before coming up to it, it's been non-stop. We're really not getting any chance to relax, but that's how it goes.
You just literally finished your tour with Vintage Shikari, haven't you? And then bang, you've
released
this album.
Yes, we did a tour with Vintage Shikari, came back, then we've just done a tour. We just did Impericon Festival in Europe, and then we did some headline shows, and we played some shows with Dragged Under, really lovely boys as well. Then we've come back, album's out, more press bits, then we're going out again. I think we leave on, I think it's not the Wednesday coming, the following Wednesday, to go on a tour with Callahan in Germany, Switzerland, Czech, Italy. Is it Italy? Can't think. And then we've got some headline shows in there as well. It's
you're definitely not shying away from it then.
No. Oh, we've got 2 shows before we leave as well. God,
It's quite hectic then, yeah. So you were saying about Germany and that. Have you been abroad already with As Everything Unfolds?
Yeah, good. Yeah, we've been a few times. Yeah. We love it there. It's beautiful, and everything works, which is quite handy. It's not got the same charm as the UK.
The crowds seem to love the heavy music as well in Germany, a lot more than kind of British crowds do.
Yeah, I don't know why. There's a certain like, I love British crowds because when they go, but there's a lot of like, people enjoy it, but they won't really pit as crazy. Whereas the Germans, they either goes 2 ways. Either they will pit like there's no tomorrow, or they'll just sort of stand there like, and like there's no 2 ways. Like the shows are either like you're being judged or they're just killing each other.
What's the craziest crowd so far you played in front of then? Where would you say?
God. I mean, craziest in terms of like them actually going mental. It's definitely still been our headline. Was that last year at Camden Assembly? Mm-hmm. Just because it was a sellout and everybody was there for us. But because they were there for us, it was just like from the moment we started playing to the end of it, there was just crowd surfers and there was pits the whole time and people on everyone's shoulders and everything. It was for like 45 minutes. It was just carnage, just chaos. Just a little sweat box.
Do you get wrapped up in the chaos? Do you get in the crowd or?
I might do one. I haven't yet. I used to. I've stopped doing it. Just it's only because I really like pointy guitars. I've moved away from them now, but like there's a thing about coming in the crowd with a pointy guitar and just donking someone on the head or something. I don't know. Maybe I'll crowd surf at one point, but I'm just so worried that I won't get back to the stage again, or like I'll fall. But saying that, when we were Shikari, this is a tangent. Like Rory in the Glasgow show, when I say crowd surfed, I mean like not on his back. He was stood up, held up, standing, playing the guitar, being held by the crowd, and that's just a.
Yeah, I've seen Frank Hart and the Rattlesnakes. I went to see them, and he did that as well. And I just was like, how are you even standing up?
But he's mental. He loves it, mate. He loves it.
Yeah. You've got to be. But I think it's another kind of breed of people in a mosh pit. It looks so crazy and manic, but at the same time, as soon as any of the band appear in there, you don't see them getting as harassed as I thought they would do the first time I ever kind of experienced it. You know, fans are quite respectful over the fact that, oh, we want them to get back up on the stage, so
Yeah.
we'll send them back.
Well, the show ends otherwise, doesn't it? Like,
so let's go back to kind of like the beginning then. Where does the As Everything Unfolds journey start? How did you all meet?
oh God, it's been going for a little while. So we used to have an old guitarist called Alex Payton who was with us way back when, and it started as like a little acoustic thing, and then we got John joined on drums originally before he was on keys, and then we got George who's on bass now, and we had another singer called Alex Meredith, and we sort of did that for a little while. He went away. We found Charlie on joinmyband.com. No word of a lie. Fantastic website. Can't recommend it any higher. It seems to have done all right. And we were just kind of mucking about for a little bit. John didn't want to do drums anymore. He's always been kicking about with his synth stuff, so he wanted to do synths. We got our last drummer, Liam Burgoyne, joined. I'm trying to think when Owen joined as well. About this, it must have been after that. I can't think now. And then we're kicking about from there. But we were just mucking about, not really taking it seriously. Just, you know, a couple of mates just making music, not really doing anything proper. And then Liam left because he wanted to go do other stuff, and Jamie joined us. And then I think since we've had Jamie join us, when we released Closure, that's when we went, all right, let's actually be a band. Let's not just play in my parents' front room. Let's actually properly be a band. So there was like loads of stuff that sort of happened beforehand. And then, what was that, 2018, I think, is when it's like the start point. Everything before that was like the prologue. Do you know what I mean? That was The Hobbit, right? Lord of the Rings started in about 2018.
So was it always something for yourself then that you wanted to do, or was it just a hobby that kind of developed with music?
I mean, well, I always wanted to do it, but like, you don't realise what that means and how it works until you sort of get there, I suppose.
Yeah.
It's the sort of thing where I was like, oh yeah, it'd be really cool. Like, I love guitars, I love all these bands. Like, I want to do this, but there was no real like plan. I didn't know how. None of us knew how it worked really. And then I think the more it happens, the more I'm like, oh yeah, this is definitely it. This is what I've got. I can't not do this. If I don't do this, I'll just implode. But I don't think we set out to do it.
Yeah. What about were your parents musical, or was it just something that you kind of know? Music fans, or?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like, I grew up on Meatloaf, Foreigner, Thin Lizzy, Oasis, Bryan Adams, who was a massive favourite of mine. Like, they used to love music, but they haven't got a musical bone in their body, bless them. Like, I'd love to see them have a go, but.
Yeah. What are they like with kind of supporting you with regards to attending gigs? Are they at the front of the stage, or are they away at the back?
No, they're away at the back. I don't think. I mean, it'd be really funny, but I dread to see my mum get smashed into the barrier at the front with all the mosh pit behind her. Bless her.
Yeah.
No, but they come to the shows when they can. But they're not one of those parents that follow you around the country watching every single show.
You mentioned briefly that you kind of like one of your favourites was Bryan Adams, and that. What other kind of inspirations have you got that you bring into the band?
Oh my God, it's hard to say with it, because I think a lot of us have inspirations that don't necessarily correlate with the music that we play. Like Bryan Adams, for example, you tell me where it is. You listen to Ultraviolet, you tell me where he is. Like, I don't know where he is.
Determined now to find it, though. I will look.
Maybe you can find it. Honestly, do see. I mean, because I grew up on, well, when I got into my music when I was a bit younger, it was, you know, Korn, Limp Bizkit, Linkin Park, Bullet for My Valentine. Absolutely loved them. Trivium, the kind of more metally sort of stuff. And so some of the riffs that I've got that kind of flavour, it kind of comes in. But yeah, I don't know if you can. Yeah, I don't know if my real like Bryan Adamsy, Meatloafy sort of stuff comes in there. It'd be too theatrical. It'd be too old school rock. But I actually maybe we'll do that. I don't know.
So let's talk about Ultraviolet then. Obviously, that came out on Friday. What's kind of like the story and journey behind the album?
There'll be a story with it from Charlie's lyrical point of view. I don't know how much more to add into that. It's a separate beast.
Yeah.
I think we really just wanted to make a darker but uplifting, me personally anyway, sort of a better collection of songs than we had before. We were so eclectic the first time round that there was definitely a real thing to come together and really have like quite a really coherent vision and concepts and story. And we must have been maybe it was quite early on, possibly a third of the way through when we wrote Ultraviolet, and Charlie had the concept of Ultraviolet, and we were like, oh, this is fucking cool. That makes more sense, and that really helped cement the rest of it, because we were like, okay, well, this is such a strong imagery and what we're trying to do, that the rest of the pieces kind of fell into place over that.
I'm always interested in kind of like the process behind it, in the fact that do you write the music first and then go to Charlie and say, here's the music, you put words to it, or just is there a point where she'll come and go, do you know what, I was in the shower and I came up with these lyrics, can you put some into that?
No, it's definitely music first and then vocals second. We're not it's not as in there's no law that says it has to be that way. It just tends to work out that way. In the first album, I would write the big skeleton, and then John would come over the top, and then Charlie would put hers on that as well. But then this time round, John and I really wanted to come together. So keys, just for anyone else, John really wanted to come in with me at the beginning and just write things together. So the synths weren't sort of on top. It was really quite infused throughout, which I think we did a very good job of. I feel like it's quite intertwined. But with that and putting our two brains together, the songs just come out a lot faster. So in the time, if Charlie could come with us with some lyrics and we go, oh, we can write a song to that, but we've also got 10 here if you'd like to put some vocals on these as well. And there was a sort of little bit of that we'd have to try and slow down, just to not be like noises, because we weren't writing at the beginning. We didn't write for anything. We were just like, let's write, let's see what comes out, see how it sounds, see which ones are really going, this is where we want to be, and then follow that path down the road a little bit. But that did mean that there was a lot more songs than we needed, and some of them weren't necessarily in that kind of vibe. So I think to try and avoid just going, here's 45, pick what ones you like, but all at the same time, we try to gradually go through them. Because when you're juggling a few songs at once, it gets to be a little bit. Sometimes they all blur into one a little bit,
So is there songs then that are recorded that haven't made the album then that you could possibly put out a future date?
You can never say never.
Never say never.
You must never say never. Maybe we will. It depends. I'd love to do a deluxe album and then we bring it out, but
Was there any songs within that mix that didn't make the cut that you kind of go, oh, I wish it did, from a personal point of view, or?
Yeah, but they weren't fleshed out enough, and so that means that they might come back later. There was a couple of cool riffs in there that was like, oh, this could be a little something. But they just never. I think they didn't fit the vibe. I'd like to think that Ultraviolet has a certain sonosphere around it, and they just weren't quite in there, and so they didn't manage to get fully fleshed. But there's a few in there that maybe in the third one or the deluxe. I don't know. I'm set on a deluxe, or the one with the Japanese bonus track. I just
couple of live tracks on there as well.
Yeah, I think it's fun, man.
Yeah, definitely. So you released Closure in 2018. How do you think your sound's developed now with Ultraviolet out now?
I actually think. I mean, people might tell me I'm wrong. I think it's less atmospheric in that kind of thing. Especially Closure, especially there was a lot of Oh no, is it? I think I'm just thinking about Divided there. Yeah, we've kind of got. It's sharper. It's more to the point. It's slicker. It's I think you can, if you listen to that and then listen to the new stuff, I think you can hear like the DNA and the core running through it. But it's kind of like somebody just keeps taking the dial up, you know. If Closure was at 4, it was just sort of tickling through. You know, we're bumping up to 7, 8. It's getting more in your face. It's getting more precise. It's getting more sharper, I suppose, both sonically and songwriting wise.
Yeah. It seems to me that there's more kind of like you've got your Ultraviolet and Felt Like Home, your first 2 tracks on the album. They feel like tracks that you could hear in a stadium with 80,000 people. You know, they've got that power and that sound. And for me, that's where I feel that you guys have stepped up on this one, where you've got these kind of like massive tunes. You know, if there'd be, you know, in the classics now in 10 years time, I feel, you know, because they've got that hook straight away. And I think I stumbled across you guys originally with one of the playlists on Spotify I was listening to, and I literally, that Ultraviolet came on and I stopped in my tracks and had to start it again to hear who it was. And I think as soon as I'd done that, then I went onto Instagram to find who you were.
Oh, really?
And so it's got that kind of hook straight away for fans.
I think we really did try to make that happen.
Yeah,
that kind of comes back, I suppose, to what I was trying to say with Bryan Adams as an influence, is that like, okay, he's not crazy old. He's not, you know. I mean, Waking Up the Neighbours was it 2001? Imagine true. That's 20 years. But then you've got Meatloaf, it's 1989. I can't think what it is now. But like, what does it take for a song to last the test of time? Because you can make trendy stuff and you'll be on a trend for like 5 minutes and then you'll do really well and that's fine. But then what's going to make you have that staying power? And I think that's very important to me.
Yeah, definitely. And like you said, there's been many bands that have written songs that we've all loved and probably not so much listened to nowadays, but there's them artists that make them songs. You mentioned Korn, you mentioned Limp Bizkit and stuff like that, where there'll be songs that have crossed over genres as well. Not crossed over genres, but fans of other genres will know break stuff. They'll know Follow the Leader, because of that, having that big sound. And I feel like Ultraviolet and Felt Like Home for me is probably the standout track of the album.
Yeah.
I love the album, but for me, I just love that track. And I feel like that would be something that people sing along to and get other genres involved.
Yeah, very true. It's kind of dancey in a way.
Yeah. Compared to the kind of like the rest of the album, it's probably more, I hate saying this word, but it's a little bit more mainstream in the fact that it would cross them boundaries. Sorry if that offends you.
No. Yeah. What does commercial mean? It makes money. Yeah. Oh no. It sounds like you guys make money. I think that there was definitely a conscious effort. Well, unconscious anyway, just because of the nature of how we write things. Yeah. But there's just something for everyone. You know, sometimes that's a blessing and a curse, because maybe the album's too diverse for people and they go, I like this song, but I hate the rest of it or something. But like, you could pick it up in any mood or any sort of feeling and go, oh, that's the track for me. And then maybe tomorrow or somebody else goes, oh no, that track's the one for me, you know? And I think that's nice, being able to cater to more people, because I don't think that people, and we're not especially, are so single tracked. We're not. You can like more than one genre. You can like more than other sort of stuff. If you want pizza today, it doesn't mean you want pizza every day, you know?
Yeah, no, exactly. The thing is, for me as well, is that there seems to be, there was a feeling, I think you touched on it when you kind of described the album earlier, was the whole thing comes as like a package. The colour, the colour that you've gone for, the colour scheme fits in with the tune of the music, and it's you've done it's amazing how you kind of package this album out to feel that, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
like
sure.
Just so even then you've got the softer bits and the harder bits, they make sense in the album. If you listen to the album from start to finish, the whole album makes sense. It does tell a story throughout. That's why I asked about telling the story, because for me it felt like you were trying to obviously tell us this story through the colouring and through the aesthetic of the album.
I think definitely. I'm trying to think who I was talking to you about this the other day. Is that like hearing the singles on their own and then hearing them in the context of the album, I didn't want it to feel like, oh, you just like, oh, just another single. It's sort of like, oh, cool, that's where we are in the ebb and the flow of the album. Oh, cool, it makes more sense to me now because I get where it's trying to be, you know. Whether or not it does or not is it's not up to me, is it? It's all subjective. It's all up to the listener.
From my point of view, I think you've 100% achieved that. Like you said, you can take each song. It's like having your favorite TV series that has every episode is different, but it has that main arch that goes through everything, and that's how the album feels for me. Anyway, obviously, like you say, it is subjective, so people are going to see it from a different point of view. But for me, that's how it felt. Like you could take them songs and enjoy them individually, but then at the same time, as an album, it heightens the enjoyment of each song.
Agreed. Yeah, but I think that's nice to have. You know, you if you're not going to do an album like that, it's just an album of singles at that point, isn't it? Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of pop artists where it's just single, and they're all flat out. They're all amazing. But it's different strokes for different folks, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, and then somebody might turn around to me and go, "Oh, who cares?" And it's fine if you don't like it. Just listen to the singles. Like, you don't have to listen to the album. Shuffle it. I don't know.
Yeah. See, there is that. The way it works is now, especially because of the likes of Spotify and Apple Music and all that, people unfortunately don't listen to a full album as much as like when I was certainly younger as well, you know. But if there are the purists who go and listen to the album, it's done well for them. You know, you can go and listen to that album. Yeah,
but you can't write for the people that pick them up in individual songs. They'll do that regardless.
Yeah.
You know, if we didn't try and make it flow, they'd still just pick up the ones they wanted to. So you might as well cater for the people who hear the album as a whole.
Yeah.
Because they're going to listen to it that way as well. So
and they're the true fans as well, because they've given your music the time to sit and listen to the whole album rather than just the one and go, oh, I do like that song, but they've not grabbed me enough to go and listen to the full album.
Yep, agreed.
You've got, obviously, we'll go on to the kind of like you're gigging at the moment. You've got a lot of dates coming up as we got at the beginning. You've got your tour in Germany starting in May.
Yep.
You've got, actually before that, you've got your album release show at HMV in High Wycombe on the 29th.
Yes,
so the end of this week. So anyone in High Wycombe, get down to HMV for record signings and everything, isn't it?
Yeah, record signing, and then we're doing a little intimate acoustic show. Just be me and Charlie, just doing nice little vibes for it. And then maybe we'll get the other boys doing backing vocals or something. Yes. For a little choir in the background.
So then you're off to Germany and then back for 2 headline shows in September.
Yep. You got
Manchester on the 12th and London on the 13th.
I'm glad you know.
Been stalking you.
It's in my diary somewhere, but I never know the date.
And then between that, you've got on the 25th of June, you're at the Resurrection Festival in Spain.
Yep, that's really cool as well.
I didn't know about the Resurrection, I didn't see the lineup until I was obviously doing research for the show. Oh, and wow, what a stacked lineup. Yeah, I thought Download was looking good, but that looks, wow.
It's massive.
Yeah.
And we're on, this is going to be such a wild card for me because of the thing I've just said, but like, I can't wait to see Behemoth.
Oh, yes, yeah, no.
I saw the lineup, I was like, yeah, this could be great fun. Just, I don't know, man. I'm just gonna love. If they don't play Your Fire in the Void, I'm just gonna walk out. That's my one. That's my jam.
It's so upsetting, isn't it, when you want to hear a song by a band and they don't do it. I've been into a couple of gigs and be like, come on. Oh no! It's like, I'll do an encore. Come on.
it's so funny seeing both sides of it as well, man. Because
Yeah.
like some people they'll ask me to play these like obscure album songs. I'm like, we're not going to play it. I'm like,
No.
we're playing for half an hour. If I don't play the really big ones, people will get upset.
Yeah.
I can't play the little one.
No,
But then I don't know. But then comes the headlines where you can play more of them. I think that's fun.
yeah.
Being able to like play more of the other ones that the fans want to hear.
Yeah. So it's a very, very busy few months anyway for you.
Yes.
How are you finding navigating around kind of like the gigging, and obviously you're still working full time, I guess, as well on top of it. So
That's where I am, baby.
That it must take a lot out of you.
It's doing all right at the minute. It's definitely very full on. The Red Bulls are definitely helping. The Red Bulls help. Having a nice sesh just to let loose for a little bit helps on the weekend as well. And then perseverance. It's happening either way. I've got to jump on board. It might as well be up positive about it. It's going to happen. I can't turn around and be like, yeah, sorry guys, I'm not coming. Sorry. It's got to happen.
I take it you'll get on quite well as well for touring up close quarters to each other.
Yeah, it's I think we're definitely more of a family first, which does help in a lot of ways. And we've known each other all like 10 years, which is crazy. So it's definitely like a family first. But obviously the other side of that is who annoys you the most? Family. So it's tough, but it's good fun. It's really, really good fun. It's just making sure that you please everyone as much as you can, and obviously that's very difficult because there's different personalities. If somebody wants to party or somebody wants to go to sleep, the compromise in there is very bizarre, but it does exist in there somewhere. We haven't imploded yet.
What's the nerves like then on stage at the moment? Are you still having to battle them, or have you just been a calm person from day one?
I might have been more nervous when I was a bit younger, but not really. I really like playing. So even there could be 4 people out there or 4,000 people. I just kind of like playing the guitar, so it's kind of all right. I only get not nervous, but I'll get stiff on stage if maybe if I'm having some technical issues, or if I'm not quite not drunk enough, but if I haven't had enough alcohol just to sort of loosen me up a bit. It really does help. Like you won't believe just how much you kind of lose that. It's not even pressure. You just kind of lose that kind of like stiffness that you get when you're completely sober. It's just loose. You're just having a great time, and because the crowd's drunk as well, you can sort of feed off the energy. But not really nervous. Stiff. No, I get stiff sometimes. There's something that Red Bull in a beer can't fix.
Yeah. I guess mainly the stiffness when you're saying with technical issues, that happens to anyone. If you're in your job and you've been flustered, you straight away you have to regather your thoughts and react.
And it's when you get to do that at home or at work in an office, when it's just you and a small team, or you and your partner, whatever it is, it's all right. When there's quite a few eyes looking at you, you're kind of like going, oh shit, like I really want to just like lose it, but I've got to just stay on. I had a bad show the other day in God, where were we? I think it was in Munich. I think I had a bad show on Impericon Fest. I just had so many technical issues, just not having a great time whatsoever. And we had tour manager and driver with me, and I was like, please just get me a cable from somewhere, and please can you bring me my bottle of amaretto, because I just need something positive to get me through, because everything is going wrong right now. This is the power through.
What was going wrong?
Oh God, the in-ears were just a mess, and I basically couldn't hear anything in my in-ears. It was just covered in distorted bass. But we didn't have a tech with us on the show to help deal with it, and I didn't get a chance to go and mix. Once we play the set, I'm pretty much playing constantly, so I didn't really get a chance to do that. So I was trying to like pull my ears out, pull my IMs out to sort of hear in the room a bit more, and then I was like, God, I can barely like hear the drums to keep myself in time. So I was like trying to stare at Jamie, like, please give me a pedal hat so I know what's happening. And then my guitar kept cutting in and out and everything. I think I made a couple of mistakes because I was just wasn't as focused as I should have been. So I was a bit upset after the show, but it was all right.
In hindsight, do you think it was noticeable, or was it getting you flustered because you could see it, but probably the fans weren't as much aware as you were?
It's normally that they don't notice quite much, just because I think, you know, if you were one man on a guitar and you're having guitar issues, probably they'll notice. When there's five of you, and you know there's a lot going on, it's kind of less. And also, you know, Charlie's always she's the front woman. She's always at the front. She's got more eyes on her, so I can kind of get away with it. But like, I just won't move as much. Like, I'll still play, and I'm got to try and keep myself in the zone. But maybe I just won't be rocking out as much as everyone else.
Remember, we had Fail State, the band, on the other week, and one of them said that there's a guitar string had broke on the stage, and he said it was the longest 5 minutes trying to get it redone. And obviously there, because you've had to stop at that point, so everyone's watching. He said you can, as much as a crowd are there and understanding, you don't feel they are at the time.
No, you really don't. That's what you always got to bring a backup. Always bring a backup.
Yeah,
it's,
you learned the hard way.
I know. That's the point. It's like until it happens, you don't realise it could happen. I always bring 4 guitars with me, just one because I can, and 2 because I can't pick, and I like being able to just. I go on stage, I'm like, any meeny money. Yeah.
Do you stick to the one guitar throughout the whole session though, or do you go? Oh, do you know what? I'm going to change that one for that song.
So we've got 2 different tunings that we use. Well, there's more, but there's only 2 that we can get away with. So we've got 6 string in drop C, and then we've got the 7s in drop A. So I have to switch between the 2 of those anyway, just because I don't really like to use the drop tune as much as possible because it just degrades the quality a little bit, which isn't.
Okay.
And the longer scale length on the 7s helps as well, just to make it a bit punchier. I've got. So what is it? So I have to switch between those 2 anyway. But then sometimes I will just pull out another guitar just because it feels better. Well, I'm trying to think that was in that last Impericon tour. All right, they're here actually. That's fine. Let's do that. It's fine. They're great when these just work. So I had this one. Yeah. It's the Misha Mansour 7 in some fucking neon orange because I love orange. I was using this one, but I don't really like it for Wallow because of the lead stuff. I like riffs on this, but the leads just don't feel quite right. That's going to fall down. So then I popped out.
Wow, yeah.
Popped out the black Charvel. It just feels better for the leads, just up a bit higher. It just feels a bit nicer. That's next. I think I played the first show on the Impericon Festival. With the Jackson, with the 7, and I was like, oh, dude, this just don't feel them right. It's just the leads just sound a little bit too ice picky. They weren't as warm, and it just didn't feel comfortable. So I swapped it out for that one for just one show. It's just the one song, sorry. And I was like, best decision I've ever made. It seems pointless for one song, but it just feels so much nicer anyway.
Did I notice in your Instagram that you are a brand ambassador for Jackson as well? Is that right?
Jackson and Charvel. I can't put the 2 of them. I'm greedy, and they let me do it. So
that must be cool. That was just having that kind of
Mate, I do love it. I originally joined for Jackson, and then because that's why I was playing those already, and then I saw a couple of Charvels, and I was like, oh, cool. I was like, I'll pick some up just because they look really pretty. Got them, and I was like, well, these are amazing. I was like, I want to use these all the fucking time. Which is really funny because I didn't come in thinking I was gonna love the Shovers as much as I did, but now I'm sort of moving back the other way. So it's nice to have the option because they're more rock and roll, one's more metal. Kind of depends on the flavour and the day.
Are we allowed to do this? But
what?
Can you pick a favourite?
Oh, I can pick a favourite. Only because.
I didn't know whether it was like choosing between your kids.
Well, I won't say favourite. I'll say favourite right now.
Yeah.
Just because this is the guitar that I wrote most of Ultraviolet on, and it recorded most of it as well. It didn't record all of it, but it did most of it. And I just think it's just really pretty. It's a DK2 I don't even think you can call it an M because it's caramelized maple board. HSH in the CY Duncans, they're Dario strings because they're the best strings. Yeah, man, I don't know something about it, but I've not been using it recently just because it's not been enjoying the climate changes on the tour. So I've been rocking my Jackson DK2M. No, that's not a DK. The DK2, which is orange. I'll get that one out as well. But just because it's got the lock on it, which is much better, I'm going to get a Tremel No for this, just to make it a little bit more stable. Because I was just, I love it, and I usually bring this out for the first track. I bring it out for Ultraviolet, just so I get to play it, and then I go, right, now you have to sit away and wait till the next show. Well, I've just got them all out now. But who cares?
You said that the environment affects it. How much so?
A lot. It seems to be mainly oh god, that's a little bell. It seems to be mainly the humidity and the temperature changes. It's just the way when it's getting hot and getting cold, the wood and the strings are stretching and contracting, and it's just leading to poor stability. And I think, you know, if I had a guitar tech with me all the time who could sort of sit there and do bits with it and take care of them and make sure that they're acclimatized and everything, you know, you'd be fine. Just having to do that job as well, and because they live in the Scott Dixon for most of the time, they just don't seem to really enjoy it that much. I think if you stayed in one country, you'd probably be okay. You know, we went from semi-cold. I mean, some of the shows we were doing, it was like raining, and then we saw snow, and then we went down to Italy, and it was like, you know, roasting hot, beautiful weather, dry heat. They just don't like it. They just don't like it.
I guess the strings as well, not just the wood, but the strings from someone who doesn't really know a lot about it. But it does make sense. Yeah,
it's just one of those things that it's wood. It's a living thing. It needs, well, you know, living. It used to be. It's now sort of half living. But they just need that extra attention and care. And if you're sort of in festival loadout, you just don't really get a lot of time to let them acclimatize. So it's just not worth it. But so that's why the Floyd Rose comes in handy. Really comes in handy.
What age did you first pick up a guitar then?
11.
All right.
I think 11. Well, I picked up bass first. I kind of wanted to play guitar, but I picked up bass first because all my mates were playing guitar, and I was like, well, I'll play bass. I'll be that guy. And then it was like after a year or two, I was like, no, I want to play guitar. This guitar seems way cooler, so much better. So I can still play bass, and I still have a couple of basses, but guitar's the one. But I can't shred, so I might as well be a glorified bassist at this point.
So was that the main inspiration for picking up a guitar then? Everyone at the time was starting to play, and that's what prompted you? Or
no. Well, that didn't help, but like, I wanted to impress girls, man. Why else do you play guitar? Like, I was 11. I was like, oh yeah, I'll pick up a guitar. I'll be cool. He says with the fucking like hair like this, you know. Obviously, it didn't work. And here I am. What is it? It's nearly 17 years later. Jesus. Is it? Yeah. Fucking hell. Jesus. Or has it been that long?
Still trying to impress the girls.
You know, you can try, but it doesn't work. So I've given up. I've given up doing that.
What was the very, very first kind of band that you were in then?
Oh my god. The first band I actually was in that we actually had a name, because I sort of did stuff with my mates. Oh no, maybe that one was first. I don't remember what name we were. The first band that I know for sure that I was in is we were called Limitless, and I played bass in that band, and we just did sort of pub gigs and stuff. We wrote a couple of our own tunes, and they were kind of cool. But I played like lead bass. Like the first song we wrote had this little like sweet picking bit in the fucking in the verse. It was like and that's like on a bass guitar. It's so stupid. I don't know what the other boys do now. There's the guitar player and the drummer were brothers, and I think they do music production for films and stuff now.
Okay.
And then Ellie, who was on vocals, she's in a band as well. She's in Last Seen Alive. They're Brighton based. They're Brighton based. Brighton based. Pop punky sort of stuff, but they're really cool as well.
Did you ever produce a demo tape with them, and if so, what was the name of the demo tape?
No, I didn't. No, not with them. No. The drummer used to do those demo tapes. You can find it. It's on Facebook, man.
Oh, right, okay.
I think you can find it. You have to type in Limitless and then look for one with no profile photo. So have fun with that. So I didn't produce it, but the tracks are still on there. I think there's like 3 tracks on there, and they're all right.
Yeah, I'll have a listen.
It's time.
What's next for you guys? What's obviously you've got all the tours and that. Is it going to be a winter, i.e. December time of rest? Or
no,
no, I didn't think it was going to be.
No, there's after our headline after the 2 headline shows in September, there's one thing that's not announced yet that will be announced soon for us, and then there's another thing getting announced that's we're joining, but it's not like we're joining on with them, and that one is just nutty. Like that one is just insane. I can't say what it is, but hopefully it's announced soon because I can't keep this under my hat for much longer.
So fans need to make sure they keep an eye on social media. Yeah.
October. Keep October free.
Yeah. All right. Definitely. This came up a few podcasts ago, and it's a question I've asked a few times and got a mixed response from it. But at what point would you consider, I've done it, I'm happy now, I'm content? So if the next day you woke up, you couldn't do music anymore.
Why can't I do music anymore?
You've decided not to. I don't know. What would you consider success for you guys?
I mean, the success for me is just doing it, man. Like so to try and break it down into two different questions.
Yeah.
Like if tomorrow, as everything unfolds, was over and it's done, I'd just start something else. Like I couldn't. I don't think I could do life without having that part of me. You know, it's been in my life for so long now. I don't really know what to do without it. But let's, for argument's sake, say that's it. We're calling it a day. There's no more music and everything. I don't know, man. I just do I work in a theatre. Like I just keep doing the tech stuff. Like I love mixing bands. That's great. So I probably just do that. It's still music based, you know. I'd just be doing all that sort of stuff, just being on the other side of the stage.
Is there no kind of ultimate dream though, as in like to walk out on the stage at Download or walk out on the stage at Glastonbury or think your album makes #1 in the charts, for example? Would that be a point where you go, you know what, that's the pinnacle of what I saw when I first started music? I'd be content from now on, from whatever else comes next.
Oh,
you always want more.
But I'm already there, man. Like,
all right.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I didn't even think we'd get here. So
yeah,
it's all icing on the cake. And I don't want to. Like, I want to be like the Stones, you know, or Metallica. Well, more the Stones because they're older. You know, still kicking around, still doing it, just because they don't know how to do anything else and they love it. You know, even when I get arthritis and my hands don't work, I'll just mime and, you know, get somebody far more efficient than me behind the curtain.
I was having this debate with someone the other day, actually, because that you just said about the Rolling Stones and they were like, oh, they only do it for the money. And I was like, nah, they're not in a million years. Are they at that age still doing it for the money? They're doing this. Yeah, I know it was crazy money for tickets and stuff like on their last tour, but they're not in control of that. And they do it because they love doing it. And like you said, they've probably got nothing else to do.
I mean, after you've been doing it for so long, you know, I just don't know what else you do. I mean, you do hear, okay, not to be, you know, a little bit dark, but you know, you do hear these people that retire and they don't last that much longer just because they go, well, what else is there? I've been doing this for 50 years or 60 years or whatever the case might be. what, and then you just stop and that's it. Like, I'd want to keep going, man. I'd just do anything.
You see it in all jobs, not just down to musicians, but sports. You watch sports, and you see sportsmen who finish their career, they retire at an age, and then they just hit drugs, drink, whatever, and the life's very short afterwards because of that. It's only a selective few that carry on. So
it'd be hard. It's definitely, the thing is, at the end of the day, it is just a job, but it's definitely a job. The same thing with the sports one, actually, that like all it does consistently is just boost your ego, beyond what a normal person should really be exposed to. Because you got, constantly you're doing a show and you've got however many people telling you you're amazing, and then you've got labels telling you're amazing, and then you've got people paying for you to do stuff. I think part of it is going to be the routine will go down. Part of it will be not having that positive loop. If that positive loop just sort of disappears, like the amount of serotonin that your brain's going to be so accustomed to just disappearing, you must be so depressed. Not because you are depressed, because your brain's going, where on earth is the rest of it?
Yeah. Have you seen the other side of it though, where the negativity, the trolls, or are you fortunate not to have that yet?
Everybody gets it, but I mean, I don't really. I'm not one of those people that reads the comments. I'm not one of those people that gets into it. If you don't like it, oh well. Yeah. You want to take the piss out of me? Oh, yeah, all right. There's nothing that these people can say to me that, one of my mates won't tell me way worse. And that's what makes it forward. That you're supposed to toughen you up so you can take these things from people on the internet. But I don't care, because listen, if anything, it's worse to not say anything. If you're commenting, you're boosting the algorithm, mate. You crack on.
Yeah, I always think that when you see people comment on stuff and you're thinking you're moaning about something as well. They'll go, "This doesn't interest me." Well, why are you commenting in the first place? It obviously does.
You commenting is going to make them go, "Oh, they like this thing," and then it just keeps showing it to you. The worst thing for me is not the criticism or the trolling or anything. It's to be completely unseen, to be just nothing. That's worse, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
I'd rather have 1K in Kerrang than to not get a review at all.
Yeah.
I can put that on my wall.
We'll touch on that actually now, because I had wrote that down to talk about earlier on, but missed out on it. But you had your review from Kerrang the other day. Very good review, and you've got a very good personal mention as well in there for yourself.
I know that's one smug point for me.
Yeah. But 4 out of 5 stars is brilliant from Kerrang.
I literally can't complain.
Yeah. What's Kerrang to you then? I tried to work your age out a minute ago. Are you 37?
Fuck off. Oh, I thought
you said you were 11, then 17 years later. That's what I was trying to work out.
You've done the math wrong, mate. That's 28. One, that's 28, and 2, I'm 28 this year. I'm 27.
I thought, oh yeah, do you know what? It's been a long day. I have done them. I was off the day they did maths at school, you see, so that was the problem. Trying to age you by 10 years, so I do apologise. I was thinking, no way, you're my age.
One of my mates, he keeps doing it to me because I'm nearly 30. He keeps turning around and he goes, he's like, well, because you're going to be like 40 next year. I'm like, fuck off. Like, shut up. He keeps doing it to me. But like, oh, don't you? Because you're like 39, aren't you? So you'll know about this. I'm like, oh, leave me alone. Just because you're, 12 or whatever. Shut up.
Unfortunately, I am going to be 40 next year. So
it's fine, mate. It doesn't matter. Do you know what I mean?
But coming back to what I was trying to get to anyway with that was, for me, I grew up in that era of Kerrang. It was a religious kind of, if you liked any alternative music, you brought Kerrang as a religious kind of thing. Was it still as popular when you were getting into music? It
was. I think I got into Kerrang and Metal Hammer and Rock Sound and everything, sort of at the beginning of the decline. I think not decline of them as a company, but I mean like the decline in magazine sales, because obviously that sort of because it's just all online now, isn't it? It's not.
Unfortunately, they do. I think 4 magazines a year that they do seasonally. I still get that. I'm still that nerd that buys magazines.
Yeah.
I still buy Metal Hammer. I like a physical copy to read. I'll still go on my iPad and I'll have a read of all what's going off in Crank magazine online and stuff. But I love a physical copy, so I'm quite good that they don't do them as often as they do.
Well, it's cheaper, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, that's it. Everywhere does it. I work for a big retail. I'll just mention them because I'm not going to bother. I work for Screwfix. I work for Screwfix.
Yeah.
And we've recently moved away from doing catalogs to doing all our iPads and everything like that. So it saves them money. I understand why they're doing
it. And it makes sense because you don't need the same thing in my venue as well. Is that we used to do more of a little program brochure thing, and we've made it smaller. Yeah. Made it less frequent because you just don't need it anymore. It's just not happening. Yeah. It's kind of sad, but
it's not just down to cost though. I'm one of a few select people that still want a physical copy. There's not many around now. You see it when you go. I remember going around to people's houses, and the first thing, as a nerd that I am, the first thing I'd always go to would be the CD collection to see what they're listening to. The DVDs or videos, and see what they're watching, and the books. So, but it's unfortunately going that way.
But thing is, even though it's going that way, vinyls are. God, that's judging. Vinyls are sort of taken off again after they were being not as. But it's become. I think the thing with physical products now is they've got to be more of either a collector's item or it's got to be more of a specialty piece. So it's got more value to it that way. Just having it. CDs aren't quite. I mean, well, in Europe they still love CDs, but in the UK it's CDs are dead. Vinyls are in. Vinyls are cool, and they can look fantastic. You put it on your wall, and even if you don't listen to it,
But it has to have. I think you're right. It has to have a unique selling point because, especially for the price of charging nowadays as well. And I know it's not massive amounts, but £25 for an album compared to when you used to pay £10 for a CD or anything, it's a lot of money for someone to be. You don't just go to the shop and buy a couple. You're only buying one of.
Yeah. But that's what it used to be like with CDs and everything. I used to have to go to the shops and buy a CD, for like £5 or something, and that would do you. But it's the same thing. God, this is such like two men on the porch, old reminiscing of the good old days. I used to remember going to Tesco's with my mum, and I'd go down the little PlayStation aisle, everything and whatever. And I'd be able to find like a game, PS2 game, like a 10. I'm like, get in. I used to think £30 for a full new game. I was like, well, that's a lot. I would sort of wait till it comes down, and they're now they start at £60 for like the digital copy, and it's like £80 for the physical. It's just.
Are you a gamer? I
can't afford it, mate. I can't afford it.
No, I know. I tried to recently. So a lot of the lads at my work are all kind of gamers and everything, and they were talking about Elden Ring. And I was like, do you know what? I quite fancy the sound of that. It sounds really good. Well, they wanted £50, and I was like, I can't justify paying £50. It's something I don't do a lot of. It's not like I'm an avid gamer. So they've priced out just the kind of blasé fan, the one who does go online every now and again and play it, but not,
But it's not designed. It's not designed for you and me anymore, anyway, because it's all subscription stuff, isn't it? That's the thing. It's all. So I used to be a really big Destiny fan, and I got tired of spending as much money on it as I did for every fucking expansion and all this whatever. And it's just, you think, you go, oh yeah, it's only a tenner here or whatever, but like after you played it for a little while, suddenly you're spending way more money on it than you ever would have done in the first place. And I know that I can pick up Skyrim that I paid fucking £30 for 8 years ago, 10 years ago or whatever, and it will still be cracking, it'll still be amazing, and I haven't got to spend any more money.
It's it's unfortunate it's priced at that, but it's the same as any of the streaming services. You look at all the Netflix started it off where you go, oh yeah, that's quite good, all the movies under one roof. But now you have Disney, you have Paramount, you have all these ones, and because they're taking their films back from Netflix, so you only have certain films on each one. So you need to, if you're starting to get a point where I think we subscribe to half of them, because at one point we want to watch one film and it's on a different streaming. So,
And then suddenly you're paying every month, more than you would have done for just the individual stuff beforehand.
Exactly. So they've got you over a barrel, but
yeah.
well, we put the world to right there on our little porch.
Oh, no, I should have got a glass of wine. Sat on a little porch and a little glass of red. Never mind.
Let's go on to the kind of our up close and personal bit to close off the
Yeah.
interview a little bit. If you had a festival in your back garden, who would you have as your headlining act?
Brian Adams. Next question. Literally, I'd love to, mate. Oh, I'd lose it. I'll lose. I'll just make him play requests.
I was going to ask this question further along, but I'm going to ask this now because I think I know the answer. But if you could only ever listen to one artist for the rest of your life, because all of the music became non-existent, who would it be?
Oh,
would it be Brian Adams?
It would be Brian Adams, but I would be really upset because I love so much other music. No, I'd be happy with that because I can still play guitar to that as well, so that'd be all
right. If you, for some reason, found yourself on death row, what would your last meal be?
All you can eat buffet, and then I just wouldn't stop. they're like, oh, you got to take to the chair now. I'm like, no, mate, I've still got my. I'm not full yet. I've still got the rest of this buffet to eat, I'm afraid. What would I have? I don't know. I mean, maybe just if I have to keep it really, really simple, if I have to, I mean, just a really just as much Wagyu steak as I'm allowed, like just fucking loads of it, a big bottle of red wine, and then some dauphinoise potatoes and some.
Yes. My favorite.
I don't know. All the veg that I kind of fancy. We do some garlic mushrooms in there, and there's some roasted carrots and parsnips and whatever else. And I know they don't go, but who cares? And peas are boring.
Peas are boring. I put mushy peas though.
Right.
Mushy peas are the best.
No, because we're gonna fall out, isn't it?
Right.
Mushy peas in a can are fucking disgusting. It is vile, absolutely vile. If you want to come at with me with the fresh peas, yeah, your butter, your mint, bit of salt and pepper, mush them up a little bit. All right, I'm on board. Don't come at me with the cans. It's horrible. It's like baby food.
But it's brilliant. So I'm from Nottingham originally, right? Yeah. And there's the fish market in the Victoria Centre. They do a store where you can go and get mushy peas, and they ladle out this big massive, like the dinner ladies used to have.
Yeah. Oh God.
And they'd ladle it out and they put it in the pot, and then you have mint sauce on the counter that you can put on the top of it. It's honestly it's up there.
What is it, like squeezy mint sauce?
No, it's just like homemade mint sauce. It's mint with vinegar. You know, like you get in the and it's and that's literally all you eat. And maybe if you want to treat yourself, you'll get some cockles.
Oh, I don't know. I've never eaten them, but I reckon they'd be all right because they're just like really mini clams, aren't they?
Yeah. Do you know what? I had them the other week, and I didn't like them, and I thought, I'm sure I used to eat these when I ate some mush peas, but I really didn't like them the other day.
They're cold, aren't they?
Yeah, and you can get them in like supermarkets at the moment in like little bowls that are like pickled.
Oh, pickled! Oh no, come on. Listen, if they were hot, I get it. If they're hot with some garlic and some white wine and some fucking shallots and whatever, fine, fair enough. Cold, mate. It's not. I wouldn't eat cold clams or cold mussels. That'd be a bit weird.
Yeah, but yeah, cockle. Try it next time you see it. Try a cold cockle. See if it.
I will. To be fair with you, can you catch them? Like, I'm desperate to go fishing. If you can catch cockles, I'll just catch them.
Have you ever been fishing before, or just?
No, I'm dying to go. I just want to take a boat out into the ocean with some bits and some fishing lines and a lobster catch and just sort of see what happens.
We used to go. I've been fishing, but I've never been fishing at the same time because we literally used to go to a pond that we knew had no fish and put a fishing rod, and we'd go and drink and smoke because that's the only place we could go away from our parents and stuff. But we knew full well there was no fish in that pond. It was just like, it wasn't even really a pond, to be honest. I don't know what it was. So that's what you do. What was the first ever album that you downloaded or brought?
The first ever album that I bought was Infinity on High by Fall Out Boy, and I have no regrets.
No,
it's a cracking album, start to finish. And the fact that Jay-Z opens it as well.
Yeah. What are you thinking of their new stuff?
I haven't really been paying much attention for a little while, just because. What was the last one I heard that's sort of like? What's the purple one called? It's not Menace. It's a purple song. I'm going to Spotify it.
But yeah.
Fall Out Boy, purple album. Mania. Yeah, I sort of heard some stuff. That's 2016. Yeah, God. I heard
They've
that.
got some songs out recently, haven't they? Because the radio keeps playing it for me.
Yeah, I haven't checked it. I just remember like it sort of fell off, and I think I probably wouldn't like it.
No.
Oh, there you go. Oh, So Much for Stardust. That's the new one. Oh, yeah, I've seen the cover.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's returns more guitar into it. Maybe I would like it. I think because I'm so I'm stuck on this nostalgia of the old stuff. I'm like, I'll just keep it there. I know it's not good, but
what if, as everything unfolds, if they could collab with one artist, who would you choose?
Oh God.
I laughed then because I kind of was thinking, are you gonna go down the route that I think you're gonna route, or
no,
are you gonna?
No, I'm not gonna go down that route. No. I feel like it wouldn't make any. Like, I'd love it, but I don't think it'd make any sense. I think Bring Me the Horizon would be a really cool one. I'd love to just sort of smash our creative heads together and just sort of see what happens. But maybe it wouldn't be. Maybe we'd have to take something a little bit more different than us to.
They are one of the bands I'm going to download for the first time this year, and
nice.
One of the bands that I've not seen ever, and are up there for me. My favorite band of all time, a Slipknot. But I've seen them already, but I'm excited still to see them. But
but they're just always good.
Yeah.
It's just always good. I mean, Bring Me stuff is. The new stuff, like production-wise, especially live as well, not just on the record. It's just so top-notch. When I saw them way back in the day, it was way more. You know, they're a band, they're playing a show, that's it. But now it's like, you know, must be so much money behind it. Oh, Jason Mard, no, Rammstein. That'd be funnier. That'd be great.
I can imagine that as well. Yeah.
I know what. I feel like it'd be really cool. I don't know how it works. It'd be a really cool collab. Be mental.
I saw it just reminded me actually a couple of days ago. I saw the best advert for one of their tribute bands. Right, so it came up on my Facebook feed, and it's the guy taking what you think's having a piss basically, and then as the camera pans out, another face appears from behind the urinal, like it's been there all the time. If you know, it's like someone there. And I was just like, that you just can't get better than a Rammstein tribute act doing that as an advert.
Yeah. Oh man, I do love. They played near us at one point. They played at the Milton Keynes Bowl, and I remember some of our mates went to go and see it, and I wasn't able to go. But as I'm not surprised, there was like police reports and fire department calls, because they were like, oh my God, like the bowl's on fire, and it's like, no, it's just Rammstein. Like, there was so much smoke, it looked like it was actually on fire.
But I've not seen them, but I bet they're amazing live.
Oh God, yeah. I'm really, mate, desperate to see them. Desperate.
What's your favourite film of all time?
God. The only one that's jumping out to me, not I don't think it's my favourite one, but Donnie Darko really jumps out to me.
Oh, brilliant! Yeah.
I think it's just fucking weird film. It's so cool. It's just so bizarre. I can't think what else I like. Wolf of Wall Street's fucking hilarious. That's nice. I really like Inception. That was a really good film as well. No, Donnie Darko is probably my favourite one, just because it's nutty. It's just crazy. It's just not like, it's kind of culty as well. It's kind of fun.
Yeah. It's so dark as well, isn't it? Like just the whole tone of the film is just dark from the minute it starts.
I know. Like if you watch it sober, it feels like you're high, and if you watch it high, it feels like you're sober. It's so bizarre.
What kind of things you like to do to unwind then? So when you're not constantly touring and you're not constantly recording, what's the one thing you look forward to?
Oh man, I just really like cooking.
All right.
I feel like I was talking to some again. The interview I did the other day they asked me the same thing, and I was like, I don't know. Like I don't feel like I get enough time to really know. I really know how I actually unwind. Like I like it. I like watching TV a little bit, and I like cooking and just relaxing. But like, yeah, I don't really.
So before I answer that, when you're selling out all your arenas and your massive and everyone a household name,
Yeah.
will Celebrity MasterChef be on the horizon for you then?
I'd have to do it now. Oh no, well, I'll just do normal MasterChef now. I feel like I hate it. I mean, it looks well stressful. Actually, if anything, I'd rather do Hell's Kitchen actually, because that seems a little bit more. He says it as in that would be less stressful, but like you seem to be like it's more of a team thing, isn't it? I know you got your individual bits, it's more of a team thing. Whereas MasterChef is just like every day is a new bang, bang, bang. And then I get to see Gordon. That'd be great.
That was one of my kind of almost one of my roots. So I almost went into chef, and my dad was a chef.
Yeah.
I've always worked in hospitality until recently, and I always thought to myself, I do chef and love cooking the same as you. Like, and then it's a stress value.
No.
I couldn't.
Yeah.
Couldn't do it.
I was a chef for like 5 years, and I do sometimes miss it. I kind of miss that Friday, Saturday rush, but only when you're with a good team. If you're with a good team, it was like stressful, but it's like clockwork.
Yeah.
So it's kind of nice, and then you get 6 o'clock till 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock or whatever. You'd be pissing Ramo, and then it's done and dusted, and away you go. Probably wouldn't do it again, but
I won't get back to hospitality again now.
Maybe for a lot of money.
The only way I'd do it is if I was opening up my own music venue now. Like, I couldn't go back into any other form of. It would be. I'd have to run something like that.
That'd be really good. Thing is, if you did that in the UK and you sorted the bands out with good food, you get such a great rap of good bands in straight away.
Yeah.
Because I mean, the riders in the UK crack me up. It's so you go around and it's bread, ham, cheese, soggy lettuce, no butter, and some beer. Do you know what I mean?
Just put a homemade lasagna on for bands. It costs you nothing. It'll probably cost you less than what it would do to do that.
But then somebody's got to make it, and they've got to bring it down and keep it warm and blah 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 blah.
I guess the other problem as well is obviously it's not something I've navigated towards, but I bet there'll be health and safety issues around it. Like you can't do it a certain way because there'll be, in case you put the band poison the band or something like that.
Well, the little tea lights that used to keep it warm. You got to make sure the fire eggs are in place for them, because you could burn the whole venue down with them little tea lights, mate. You got to be careful.
Yeah. Really careful. They're quite, and I know because I have looked briefly into it. I know the fire regs are hot on the venues, music venues.
Oh yeah.
And there's for every reason. We have had some bad incidents over the years throughout the world with music venues going off in flames.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
So it does make sense, but I mean, I don't know. Yeah.
Right. Final question of some personal. This is one it never changes. I always ask everyone.
Yeah.
Right. If I was to create a heart-shaped box,
and
I'm going to save music in it for future generations, just in case music becomes non-existent, what one song would you want me to put in there for you, for future generations to hear? So it's not technically your favorite song of all time. It's what you think is important for people to hear in the future.
You're gonna hate me, aren't you?
Go on, no. We've had some weird ones.
No, actually, no. I've got two. I've got two. Can I do two? Have I got to do one?
Go on, then I'll let you.
Is that all right? Can I do two?
Yeah, go on, do two.
I'll do two. I'll get it out. I'll get the first one out of the way, because obviously I've got to get out of the way, right? Bryan Adams, right? Can't Stop This Thing We Started, just because it's a monumental tune, and also because in the bridge bit, he goes through the circle of fifths. So it's really he goes through the circle of fifths, and he keeps going up a fifth every time through the bit. It's really crazy, clever bit of
Okay.
music theory that like if you didn't know, you wouldn't even know he was doing it.
All
Key
right.
changing, you can't even see it happen. Crazy. Obviously that one, that'd be funny. If I get a second one, which we're on the fence.
Well,
Bat Out of Hell by Meatloaf, and it has to be the entire version, but the 10-minute version. I won't.
There's no point putting any songs in if it's not the entirety.
What's the point in listening to Bat Out of Hell if you can't hear the whole thing? I heard a single version the other day, and they just cut out the whole of intro 1 and 2. Oh, that was the fucking point. But I need to hear the guitar solo at the beginning, otherwise I don't want to hear the song.
Thank you so much for joining us. It's been brilliant chatting to you. Obviously, for the fans, go and stream. You can buy physical copies as well, can't you?
You can buy physical
as well.
copies.
So go on to, as everything unfolds, Instagram or social media, you'll find a link on all those.
Or the Long Branch Records store, and that will take you to the individual, what's it called, regional sites of where they are.
Okay. Go and check out the album. Honestly, you won't be disappointed. Great album. If you are in Germany or you fancy a weekend away, Germany in May, and then obviously 29th at High Wycombe to go check out, and then the 2 dates in Manchester and London in September. You won't be disappointed. Go check this band out straight away. Again, thank you for joining us. Especially as I said, it must have been a very busy week for you.
Just a little bit, but that's all right. Nice little bit of stress, actually. This is.
Well, enjoy the rest of your evening.
You as well, mate.
I shall speak to you soon. Cheers, mate.
Look out. Take it easy, Adam. See you later, broski.